Hey everybody, Carlo D'Angelo, D'AngeloLegal.com. Wanted to continue our series discussing Texas hemp, talk a little bit about the Texas Department of Agriculture's application, what goes into the application, who's permitted to apply in the first place. You want to definitely go to the website for Texas Agriculture. I'll put up a link to that so you can take a look at the application for yourself, see what the requirements are, see what the proposed rules are for the application process. Some proposed rules were put together. We've talked in previous episodes that hemp is defined in Texas as any result that has a 0.3% or less THC level. That is considered legal hemp. That's the critical starting point. There is a $100 application fee that they're proposing, and you'll see all that when you get into the website itself. The rules specifically provide, and I need to stress this on the front end again because I don't want anybody getting into trouble with this, 24.8 designates Texas Department of Agriculture as the key lead agency for the implementation and enforcement of hemp production, and it states, a person who does not hold a valid hemp production license from the department shall not produce, handle, or sample and collect hemp within the state of Texas. Super important. You are in big trouble if you do this without the license. So make sure you carefully follow the requirements of the license. Don't get into this business unless you have the proper license before you start producing, cultivating, handling, testing hemp products. 24.8 sub 6 has limitations on who can apply and who can get the license. If within the last 10 years you've been convicted of a felony under Texas or federal law or law of any other state relating to a controlled substance, then you may not be approved for a license. That applies to anyone who is in the license process who's going to work with you and need to have a license. So there will be a mandatory background check that is part of the application process. Before you jump into it, that's probably a point where you want to get with a criminal defense lawyer if you've got a history and make sure that you can fly within the application requirements before you go wasting a lot of time and money jumping into the hemp business. Another provision that you need to know is that if you get into this business, because hemp looks almost identical to marijuana, and because there's obviously a lot of opportunistic people who think that, oh, I'll grow hemp and I'll sneak in some marijuana plants and no one will ever know the difference, there's a provision that gives the Department of Agriculture, the DEA, the Texas DPS, and local law enforcement access to your production areas. It provides them with complete, unrestricted access to all hemp plants, all facilities used for the production and storage of hemp in all locations where hemp is produced and handled. That provision is in place to make sure that people don't try to use the hemp license as a way to illegally cultivate marijuana, which remains illegal in Texas. Whatever you may think of that law, whatever you may think about decriminalizing marijuana, you need to understand Texas law, it is illegal. And if they come in and they see that someone is cultivating marijuana under the guise of a hemp cultivation business, then they're going to be in deep trouble and definitely need a criminal defense lawyer to get them out of the grease. Now, if you cultivate hemp legally, 24.21 states you must have a certified lab test your hemp to make sure you're within that 0.3 THC limit. And you must submit that to the Texas Department of Agriculture, that test result, 15 days before you harvest your hemp. That's important. You got to closely watch your crop. You got to then get a sample, and we'll get into this in further episodes because there's a lot of nuance with respect to what happens, how you sample, if you should submit a sample that comes up hot, how you can retest. We'll cover all that ground in future episodes. And we'll talk a little bit deeper into what that looks like. There's a lot of opportunities here because there's also obviously opportunities for hemp testing, for destruction of hemp that comes up hot. So there's a lot of business opportunities here. And again, the reason I created this whole series is if you've got some downtime right now and you're in between work and you're thinking about maybe, making a new move into something hemp does present a lot of great business opportunities. Not only the cultivation of hemp, but the testing, the destruction of hemp that is not in compliance. There's all kinds of businesses that are going to come out of this, and it's a new and emerging business, so you need to be aware. You also need to be cautious, of course, that this Texas Department of Agriculture rule does contain some teeth. There are enforcement sections. You can be subjected to civil enforcement rules if you violate any of these. You can also be referred potentially to law enforcement if you violate any of these Texas Department of Agriculture regulations, and that violation rises to the level of a criminal code violation. So, go to the website, take a look at the application. If you need the assistance of a qualified lawyer to take a look at it, then go out there, find yourself a lawyer who has a experience in dealing not only with marijuana law, but also with respect to this new and emerging area in hemp. Make sure you get some good legal advice if you're going to jump into this, if you need it. Try to do it the best you can on your own, but of course, it always helps to have some help if you need it. I hope that this was of assistance to you, and I hope everyone's out there is, obviously being safe. We're trying to get back to work. We're trying to reopen things, and maybe this gives you an opportunity to look at something and pursue a new business to replace what you may have lost because of this COVID outbreak. All right, everyone, stay safe. Stay tuned for more. Always check me out, DeangeloLegal.com or on Facebook. Thank you.